Welcome to the latest edition of the Fourth and Gold NFL podcast. We are 49 days away from NFL kickoff, but who's counting? We are going to start looking at teams individually now, just to get a sense of where we think they are, what they could be this year, what their strengths are, what their weaknesses are. But before we do that, Paul, as always, I do have a trivia question to kick off for you. Most rushing touchdowns in the last 10 years. I've got the top 10 in front of me. Let's see how many you can name.
Okay, most rushing touchdowns in the last 10 years.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's get the kind of the obvious ones out of the way first.
Mm-hmm.
So, King Henry.
King Henry is number one, 122 touchdowns.
122 in 10. So 12 per year. 16 turned into a 17-game season. It's not bad.
Not bad.
Not bad. He's been banged up, but I think he'll still be on there over a 10-year period. CMC.
CMC is number 7 on the list with 62.
Right, yeah. I was right to kind of be worried about him. Last 10. Josh Jacobs.
Josh Jacobs, tie for third, 74. I thought, that was a good shout.
You're just thinking, like, because some guys would have dropped off, you also, like, got to factor in guys who may have retired during this list.
There is one, what I would describe as inactive player on this list.
You described him as inactive, which suggests that he's hurt or he's on suspension.
He's not officially retired, is the way I would describe him. But he's as good as retired.
Okay, I've written down who I think that is. Thank you for the hint. Jonathan Taylor.
Jonathan Taylor is 5th on the list, 69. So you're 4 for 4.
Okay, I'll get that guy out of the way. Joe Mixon.
Joe Mixon is tied for 9th, so basically 9th and 10th at 60.
That was my guy who's not currently active.
Okay, so he's not who I have on the list.
Also, it's another guy who's in the top 10, but is not currently on a roster.
And is as good as, well, I guess I wasn't thinking Mixon is as good as retired, but maybe he is. This guy feels like he really is kind of like retired.
Who is that guy? 10 years. Running backs is so... Right, okay. Alvin Kamara.
Alvin Kamara is 8th on the list, 61. You're 6 for 6.
Fournette would have dropped off. That's not a guess. Aaron Jones. Maybe Aaron Jones. 10 years. Yeah, okay. Yeah, Aaron Jones.
Not Aaron Jones.
Nice.
Because I'm thinking maybe he would be like rushing and receiving touchdowns, but not rushing touchdowns.
The guy who's not currently in the league. I know we spoke about him like last week or the week before. Not currently on an NFL team. It's too long for Adrian Peterson. He's got to be retired officially by now, unless he still needs money.
This guy, I've heard in recent weeks, could submit his papers to retire, basically.
Hmm.
He was not on a team last year.
Yeah.
And I don't think he was on a team the year before.
Saquon Barkley.
Saquon Barkley is not on the list.
Okay.
Maybe the injuries that he's had in the past.
I've done the Bengals. I've done the Niners. That was going to be the only guy on the Eagles, I would think. The Packers, Josh Jacobs, and Aaron Jones. The Bucks, Bucky Irvin recently, and no, nobody on the Bucks. The Seahawks.
I will give you one more clue. Don't just think about running back.
Oh, okay. Okay. Right. So of course, think laterally. So that opens it up to, we'll get two out of the way then. 10 years. Cam Newton's not in that. No, he can't be. He would have dropped off. So we'll have Lamar and Josh Allen.
Josh Allen is second on the list with 79.
That is crazy.
Lamar is not on the list.
Wow.
But there is one other quarterback on the list.
Okay. One other rushing quarterback. Or rushing touchdown quarterback. Saints. No. Jags, Jets. Deshaun Watson's been out of the league. It's not him.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, tell me where this guy is on the list. Is he fourth or is he 10th?
He is sixth on the list with 63.
Wow, okay.
Yeah.
In the last 10 years, and he's an active quarterback.
He is an active starting quarterback.
Bills?
So you got Josh Allen. It's not Lamar.
So this is bugging me now. Right.
When you get this one, you'll be like, of course.
Okay, let's just go through the divisions. So in the East, like the Bills, the Jets, no. The Patriots, no. And the Dolphins, no. The North, the Ravens, not Lamar. The Bengals, Burrow, no. The Browns, Deshaun Watson, no. And the Steelers, no.
NFC team.
So, right, in the last 10 years.
The last 10 years.
Oh, of course, it's the tush push. It's Jalen Hurts.
The tush push, Jalen Hurts. So you've got 8. I think you've done very well. There's one guy that is active that you know very well, I think. And then there's the guy that is basically retired, who, burst onto the scene.
Nick Chubb is the guy who's nearly retired.
I'll give you 2 more guesses. It's not Nick Chubb.
Is Nick Chubb still in the league? I think he is on a roster somewhere. I think he's like buried.
He was on the Texans last year. I don't know if they retained him.
Guy who's the running backs who we were talking about picking up was Mixon, Najee, and Nick Chubb. I can't,
It's not one of those guys. So
can't remember.
this guy, when he came into the league, like he hit the ground running, and for a 3-year spell, you could argue that he was like the best running back in football.
Is it Zeke?
It is Zeke. So the last guy,
It is a running back.
last guy's a running back that you know very well because he was on your Steelers. I think this is the most surprising one of the 10, if I'm honest.
Well, if it's not Najee, in 10 years, he didn't score a lot of those touchdowns on the Steelers. That's got to be the thing to it. So it's a guy who's just been on the Steelers and then left.
He's tied with Joe Mixon on 60. That's why he's like lower end of this list.
And he's an active player, but he's not currently on the Steelers.
He is an active player, but he's not on the Steelers right now.
Oh, man.
I mean, it's good going for him to get to 60 touchdowns.
Is he a starter? He's not.
When healthy, I'd say yeah. Although I don't think he will be anymore.
What? Where? What conference? Give me the conference.
NFC. In fact, he won't even be the backup this year because this team have reloaded at running back.
Oh, okay. Yeah, it's Terminator, isn't it? It's James Conner.
It is James Conner.
Yeah, he is, and that followed his career so under the radar. Like, yeah, all those touchdowns. He's like a red zone like machine.
Yeah, he scored a lot for the Cardinals, like a lot. Like was it last year or the year before where I think he had like 15 touchdowns.
Yeah, I overcame lymphoma earlier in his life. Like,
Yeah,
he's a top guy. Like, I was sad to see him go, and I'm pleased that he's been around this long in the league. And yeah, he's that many touchdowns. Credit to James Conner. So yeah, he's now buried behind Jeremiah Love and Algier.
Yeah, that is a loaded running back room.
Wow. Well, he needs to move on.
Yeah. So we're gonna get to the Cardinals today, like as one of our teams to look at. Before we do, I thought we'd have a draft pool. You know, now we're gonna look at these teams. You're a Steelers fan, I'm a 49ers fan. So quite simply, this is a non-quarterbacks we'd like to have on our team draft. So we'll do the usual 3 picks each on our existing rosters. You can have anyone in the NFL to join the Steelers. Who would you have? And because you did so well in that trivia question, you get first pick.
Any active player, non-quarterback, that to help my Okay. I mean, for a 1 year non-quarterback.
So it's like three players. Who's going to help? Who's going to give the Steelers the best chance to win the Super Bowl this year?
Okay, so complement the existing roster, right? So I've got the Steelers roster, and to add to it, so I'm immediately drawn to Myles Garrett, but then I think we're okay at pass rush, so I think that would be kind of, you know, asking that would be not, it's not filling the hole.
Right, exactly. That's what you got to think about.
So a glaring hole that we're always trying to draft, and we drafted again at the position. I'll take your left tackle. I'll take Trent Williams.
Wow. Yeah, simple as that. Okay.
Just to help my 42-year-old, is it 42 or 43-year-old quarterback's blindside? Like, yeah, that would add some comfort.
My first pick is going to be Myles Garrett because the 49ers defensively have not been very good the last couple of years. Not because of the DC we had, but there's just been a lack of talent and too many injuries. So give me Myles Garrett on the opposite side to Nick Bosa.
I think we're okay at corner. We're not special, but we're decent. Joey Porter and Jamel Dean, good enough. Safety. I mean, I love a safety, but they don't. I don't think they make the difference to win you a Super Bowl. A kind of nasty middle linebacker in the middle, like a Ray Lewis. I don't know. It's it. If I'm drafting to get the Steelers to win the Super Bowl, then it's going to be. I'm probably going to pick three offensive players because I think the defense, yeah, with the right kind of coaching, could be good enough. So, a non-quarterback. Find a receiver to pair with DK Metcalf. I would take, so you've got two big body receivers, DK and Pittman. So I want a little shifty guy. So I was drawn to Amon-Ra St. Brown, but it's not him. I'll take Puka.
Ooh. God, that would be nasty. Yeah. Okay.
Puka or JSN? No, yeah, I'll stick with the pick. I'll stick with Puka.
Okay. Yeah, it's a great pick. The 49ers have not really invested in offensive line, have they? So I'm going to get another tackle to be on the opposite side of Trent. Give me Penei Sewell. I think the way that he plays would fit us to a T, really. So give me my two bookends to protect Purdy.
And even though he's in division, I love the player, and I think he just round out this roster. So I've got a guy up front to block for him now in Trent Williams. So I'll have King Henry in the backfield, just hand him the ball like 20, 30 times a game. Yeah, take the pressure off the quarterback. I think he'd be huge in Pittsburgh.
Wow. Okay. Last pick. See, the thing is with the 49ers offense, I feel like Shanahan can generate the offense, but do we? Well, we've just got Mike Evans, receiver or corner. I think we need more defensive help.
Yeah.
So let's shut down one side of the field, and I'll take Patrick Surtain.
Do you think it's close on Patrick Surtain? Do you think it's even close, like him and Stingley?
See, I really like Stingley, so I don't, given the choice that given the choice,
Do
I
you think
mean,
do you think that Stingley kind of suffers from the market that he's in Houston? I mean, they're not as high profile a team as the Broncos. And I can't remember where he went to school, but Pat Surtain, like he was highly touted coming out of college, going to Bama.
yeah,
Pat Surtain is always like, I feel like he's always been talked of as the best or in the best two or three corners in the league. And I think guys put him up there without necessarily like even watching him.
yeah. It's like instant aura. So like we just assume that you know, well, you're not going to throw to him.
Yeah.
I mean, he's backed it up in some. You know, I've hit some of the battles he's had with Chase. You know, like yeah, he'll give up a few, but he does a really good job against the top guys.
Mm.
But then I love Stingley because Stingley's gonna make crazy plays. So I think it's a debate. I think it's a fair debate.
Yeah. I think from watching Stingley's picks, like he makes crazy athletic picks
Yeah.
where almost like, shit, how did he do that?
Mm.
Satan seems to be like the guy is shut down from
Yeah.
like almost no opening. Stingley, there's a little bit of separation, but then he's so crazy good at like then closing speed and getting to the ball after. But with Satan, like throws don't even come his way because the guy is just blanketed. Stingley, there's a little bit of separation. The quarterback might see that, try to think, oh yeah, I can make that throw. The guy's going to catch it, and then Stingley just goes, no, 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 no. Like, I remember like a pick where he was diving backwards to pick the ball off in midair, and it's like, no, he had no business in like making that play, but that's what he does.
So hence why Stingley's probably got more turnovers because of like scenarios like you just explained. Like people are not gonna test Satan based on reputation, and
Mm.
up till at least now, they've felt that with Stingley, and we've seen some crazy plays from him. But maybe that's where it's gonna end. I don't know. Like it'd be interesting to see this year if teams now will respect Stingley in that same light. But you're right. It does feel like with Satan, there's like a instant kind of status that you can't throw at this guy.
Yeah. Yeah, there always seems to be one guy, like, a Revis or then like a Champ Bailey who's, oh no, he's like, you don't throw to that side of the field.
Yeah.
And yeah, Satan's that guy, but the rest of the Texans secondary is so good.
Mm.
I mean, you've got to throw the ball somewhere. So Stingley's gonna be targeted at some point because they're all really, really good. The Broncos, I mean, Hufunga's like strength is not in coverage,
No.
and Riley Moss is decent, but he's not like I don't think Riley Moss starts for the Texans.
No.
So
And then you think the Texans pass rush as well, like. Well, in fairness, the Broncos are really good up front as well. But the way that the Texans come at you,
yeah,
they're going to make more quarterbacks panic, I think.
mm. Yeah, no, it's just a point of debate. Like people say Sting like Satan's the best corner in the league. Okay, like why? Like, do you watch him? Like, why is he like? Because if he never gets thrown at, then you don't know. I don't know.
I think it's fair. I mean, I think that if you want turnovers, you go with Stingley. Whereas, like, I think Satan is more of a, this is a man-to-man corner who, he's gone up against the best players and they've had decent battles. I'm not going to sit here and go, oh well, he just totally shuts down everyone because Chase has given him as good as he's given like others. So that's an interesting one. Maybe I should have taken Stingley for the turnovers.
Yeah, I don't know. 49ers, like, where would I improve from the 49ers? I might even take another tackle, like a tackle on the other side. You might take like a Tristan Wirfs or something to go like, okay, now we'll pair Williams on that side with, oh, we'll take like the other.
Hence why I took Penei Sewell, because I was like, I need two tackles on that offensive line, because as I've said, multiple times with this, we kind of just try and cheat our way through with the offensive line,
Mm.
and it's definitely caught up with us in the last year.
Yeah, and yeah, I'll take a corner, and then probably yeah, I'd take like a Jefferson or a Chase.
That's who I had in mind. I was like, do I take Chase or Satan? And I just thought Shanahan's probably going to figure it out on offense more than defensively with, who is it now? It is the ex-Falcons head coach.
Raheem
Yeah,
Morris.
Raheem Morris. So he's a pretty good defensive coordinator, but I think we have a drop-off, from losing Saleh.
For sure, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, of course you would.
So your Steelers, you took Trent and King Henry.
Yeah,
And was it a receiver?
and Puka.
Wow. Okay.
I was between Puka and JSN.
I suppose because of the physicality of the AFC North, it makes sense to take King Henry, especially on the fields you would play on. I don't know if could you have taken Bijan or Gibbs? Not sure that they have the same effect when they're not in a dome. So yeah, I can't really disagree with that. Maybe Chase over Nakua, but Nakua is awesome, and you can literally move him around anywhere.
I see what you mean. I could have taken Chase. I got fixated on the two NFC West receivers, so JSN and Puka, but yeah, Jamar Chase. But I wanted a smaller receiver. Not saying that Puka's small, but small in comparison to DK Metcalf.
Yeah. Complementary, exactly.
Yeah, yeah, and it's all about with the Steelers. Like I said, I think the defense is okay enough. The defense could win you a Super Bowl if the offense was clicking.
Yeah, and that you're talking three guys would turn that offense into a loaded offense.
Yeah.
Okay, well, we will move on now, and we will start our journey of looking at these teams. And we're not going to do division by division this year. We're going to sort of take it in draft order. So teams from, should we say, worst to first based on last year. So there's one place to start. It is the Raiders. 3-14 last year. So last place in the AFC West. When you look at their notable additions, got to start with head coach Clint Kubiak. First time head coach. He's done, extremely well as an offensive coordinator. Firstly, with the Raiders, if you remember that infamous 2-week historic run that they had, but more so with the Seahawks last year, winning the Super Bowl, and the offense was, very high powered. They did have the number one pick, Fernando Mendoza. Don't know if we're going to see him straight away because they also picked up Kirk Cousins. It's an interesting one. It is an interesting one because, almost like Ben Johnson with the Bears, the first thing Clint Kubiak did was address the offensive line. Tyler Linderbaum. You remember the way that they went $8 million above the highest paid center to get him. They picked up Spencer Burford from the 49ers at guard. Nothing special there, I don't think. And then Jalen Naylor, who was, I think, the Vikings' third receiver last year. Pretty good, but I don't know what they're going to be expecting from him with the Raiders. And then defensively, Kwity Paye, Quay Walker, Nakobe Dean. They addressed their front seven with the thinking that they weren't going to have Max Crosby. Well, here and right now, he is going to be here. So to do that and keep Max, to me, that's kind of a big deal. And lastly, Taron Johnson from the Bills at corner. So these aren't like, superstar level players. But when you look at that defense now and say Max Crosby's staying, you would expect some improvement here.
Yeah. So what do you say, looking at the Raiders, is their obvious weakness? And there's a few, but I'll give one. Give me one glaring weakness that you'd be worried about if you're a Raiders fan.
The one for me is receiver, because I look at who they've got and I don't see a difference maker. And I feel like potentially they might have another year where it's very Brock Bowers centric. And if you look at the first half of last season, teams just simply took him away and said, you're not going to throw to Brock Bowers. You're going to have to beat us with someone else. And there really was no one. I know they had Jacoby Myers for a while, but even he went. So to me, it's receiver. What do you think?
Confusing to me when they traded away Jacoby Myers and it was a late round pick, and then he was decent on the Jags when he left. And you look at the Jags and you're like, they almost don't need another receiver, and the Raiders desperately need anyone at receiver. Why are you making that trade? You need all the help you can get at receiver, and now we're scratching around with Jalen Naylor. But what I would be worried about if I was the Raiders would be the health of the offensive line. So you've got two guys coming back. Colton Miller is a good left tackle, but he was banged up last year, and he's coming back this year. At least he's projected to come back this year. And the guard, JPJ, don't know his first name, but Powers Johnson, he's decent as well. But he was banged up last year. And you saw what happened with Geno and the turnovers and the sacks, and Genti, who still ran for 1,000 yards behind that offensive line. So credit to Genti. But they paid this money to Linderbaum, but those three guys need to stay on the field. If they do stay on the field, and obviously you could go around a lot of units in every team in the NFL and go, when healthy. When healthy, this is a much better unit than the unit last year. So they've done it in like you said with Ben Johnson, they've done it in the Bears kind of fashion, offensive line, and then we'll fill out. And that is, by textbook, the right order and the right method to do it. So offensive line, and then we'll find receivers. But there's guys like Diggs, and you don't know if they've had conversations with Diggs, but there's guys like Diggs who are available, and you're scratching around with Jalen Naylor and Brock Bowers.
Diggs in Vegas. But on the field, absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah. We'll make sure there's plenty of waivables in the contract. But yeah, Diggs would be an immediate upgrade at receiver. And are they going to start Mendoza week 1? I heard that they're not, but I don't know how I feel about that, honestly. I guess we will only find out in 2 years' time from now if he does not start and Cousins start. But if Cousins starts and the offensive line is trash, Cousins doesn't move back there. That's not going to go well.
No.
So yeah, it all sort of goes around the offensive line. And the offensive line impacts how the quarterback plays, and they could probably make up for not being that talented at receiver. They could help Ashton Genti and the league seeing the talent that made them draft Genti at what was it, number 4, 3 or 4, like crazy high pick for a running back. But recently, at least, guys that have been drafted at running back that high have been amazing. You know, Saquon and Bijan, and so you would expect Genty to be really good. And yeah, the relationship between Kubiak and can Kubiak be a head coach?
Yeah, that's the big one.
Because, you know, we've seen talented play callers not called Ben Johnson not make it as a head coach. So, but there is a lot to be excited about. I'm not being negative with the Raiders. I'm just being realistic that there's a lot that kind of has to come together for the Raiders to be. And what is success for the Raiders, considering you were 3-14? Double that's a massive success. Let's not be crazy and go, well, they're going to be a wild card or make it to the playoffs. They play in the AFC West.
Mm.
So they won 3 games in a year where Mahomes was banged up and the Chiefs did not make the playoffs and the Chiefs drafted in the top 10. But now the Chiefs are back. Then how many wins do you give the Raiders this year? So, and Bo Nix is going to come back, and Justin Herberts and Jim Harbaugh are still those guys. So they're in a massively tough division. But they have made some interesting moves. So I do think that they will be better. It's just how much better. I say their kind of ceiling is, I think their ceiling, because that's the way that these things are described. Like, what's their floor? What's their ceiling? Okay. So if their win total, I think the Dolphins are 4.5 and then the worst in the league. So we'll give the Raiders 5.5.
We'll put that to the test at the end of this evaluation of the Raiders, and we'll do the win-loss.
Okay, yeah, we'll get the official Vegas number. I think I've handicapped it in my mind at 5.5. But yeah, I think that kind of sums up the Raiders. Still not great on defense, even with Max Crosby. And who is Max Crosby now? Is he that guy, or is he declined, or is he pissed off and now going to come back to being that Max Crosby? What version of Max Crosby do we have? Still, the secondary is kind of a concern, and they've taken, like you said, just some guys like Nakobe Dean that doesn't stay healthy. Quay Walker hasn't ever lived up to being drafted high by the Packers. So if I'm the Raiders, I'm like, oh, well, we're back to it being Max Crosby. And if it's not Max Crosby, then we're going to be trash on defense again. So a lot.
What would you say is their strongest unit?
It's projection, because there's so
projection. Yeah.
Weapons. Their strongest unit would be their strongest unit. Well, what they want their strongest unit to be is the offensive line, because of how they have the moves that they have made. But their most talented player on their roster is still, and this is not fashionable and it's not a hot take, but their best player on their current roster is still Max Crosby.
Yeah.
So he might be older, but he's produced. You know, Genty had 1 year behind a bad O-line, but that needs to be shown into the future. Rookie quarterback, rookie head coach. You can say, oh, it's exciting, and oh, their best unit would be the head coach and new offensive play calling. Yeah, but we haven't seen it. We've seen it in Seattle, but we haven't seen it in Vegas with lesser than talent. He doesn't have JSN on the outside. He doesn't have doesn't have the Seahawks just have a, a history of winning games. The Raiders do not.
Mm.
You can project and you can say that the Raiders' strongest unit is something exciting, but their strongest player is Max Crosby, and he makes the whole defense better. You know, when you watch Raiders games on NFL films, they're like Crosby just has so much fun out there, and he
He has
makes
an endless motor as well. That's the thing. So he's always on the field.
defense is suddenly from being like the worst in the league to being like a bit of a pain in the butt just because of one guy. And that's what an elite pass rusher can do.
That's why I did have front seven written down, even though the guys they've signed, like we've said, these are kind of just guys.
Yeah.
But when you put them together with Max Crosby, and as you said, if healthy, I think that is going to be their strongest unit. Like, okay, they probably still have a hole at D tackle, but overall, when you look, and we're talking about a team that doesn't have a great amount of talent, to me, their front seven does stand above the other units. And in terms of X factor, because you already covered it, it is the offensive line for me, because that's going to be the success failure of the offense. If what they've put together works with Kubiak's scheme, this is what could unlock Genti. Because it's not just going to be running through the tackles; it's going to be the play action fake dump offs to Genti and the screens that suddenly, if he's in open space, I'm a believer in Genti. Like I know, we want to just say, oh well, optics of last year, he didn't do very well. Well, I mean, you said it statistically, he got to 1,000. Okay, it wasn't an impressive year, but look at what was in front of him. He was being handed the ball and in 0.1 seconds being taken down. So I do think the X factor for this team is the offensive line.
Yeah. And they have 3 top 10 stroke top 15 players at position on this offensive line in JPJ, Colton Miller, and Linderbaum. Linderbaum's probably the best center in the league, definitely the highest paid center in the league. Colton Miller's, I don't know about now, but it could be a top 10 tackle in the league. And Powers Johnson is a very good guard. So that's 3 guys. I know the other 2 guys are just guys, but if you got 3 out of 5 on the offensive line, you can have success.
With an offensive wizard, with the tricks that they can put together, that will also help the offensive line. So 3 out of 5, offensive offensive mind. Yeah.
And they were decisive. So, obviously they took Mendoza. I mean, they had the number 1 pick. It was not going to be, unless they did something crazy and traded it away. But they went after Linderbaum in free agency, and they went after Kubiak as their number 1 candidate, and had to wait, obviously, because the Seahawks were in the Super Bowl, so they couldn't officially unveil him until, was it the week of the Super Bowl, or is it? I don't remember if they identified it.
It was pretty close.
Like the news breaking. Was it the week of the Super? Was it pre?
I think it was. I think that maybe the official announcement didn't happen until after the Super Bowl.
That's what I'm saying. The official announcement. I mean, it was widely known that he was going to be the guy, but what I'm saying, they had the kind of courage of their convictions to go, no, he is our guy, and other guys were being taken off the market.
Yeah. And you never know. That's the thing. You never know until it's official. So there was a bit of risk involved.
Yeah. Yeah. Kubiak suddenly now the OC of the Super Bowl champions and goes, I want some more money on that contract. Or there's another couple of jobs available, so I'm going to see. Or the Seahawks have just extended me to more money.
Yeah, exactly.
Like it here.
We could win another one.
Yeah. So, but yeah, that's what I mean. At least they seem like they've got a plan. At least.
Yeah. Before we do the win-loss, just a bit of light-hearted fun. Their leadership needs some work because their minority stakeholder, Tom Brady, went on a podcast and basically said no one did well enough last year. And I'm like, is that the right thing to say when you've got a disgruntled Max Crosby? I don't know. Like, I think that Max Crosby at least deserved a mention, maybe even Bowers in the second half of the season. And it's coming from a guy that isn't really there and is now trying to be in the WWE. So, Raiders, get your shit together. Stop creating distractions away from the team. That's all I'm going to say.
Hold on, who's trying? What, Brady's trying to be a wrestler?
Brady is trying to have a little bit of WWE action with Logan Paul. So when you're shouting from the ivory tower that no one's done well enough last year, maybe you need to look at yourself. You're involved in a lot of things. I don't think that you can hold Max Crosby accountable in that way.
Yeah, Brady. I mean, I'm not a Brady fan as a character or as a player, but that's his mindset.
Yeah.
You know, he was a Patriot for most of his career. Like they don't. Yeah, they're not great with the media, and they are just. And the Raiders are not so much disciplined, and he is in the media spotlight now, and he is going to be asked with his new role in the ownership model of the Raiders about the Raiders, and unfortunately, he has to answer those questions. He can't shut down because he's in the media, so he can't say no comment. He can't be Belichick and say, basically it's off. Like he's got to answer questions because that's his job. So, what's he gonna say? And if he does say, "Look, I'm being difficult. I'm playing devil's advocate," but what's he gonna say?
I think it's fine what he said. I just think you need to tread carefully with your superstar pass rusher. That's all.
There's 53 guys on a roster. What is he going to make like 10 honorable mentions?
Just one. Just one.
So we're going to leave out Genty then. So if you're mentioning one, you're going to leave out Genty. And I'm sure there's some guys on defense that, although the defense sucked, like, oh, well, Eric Stokes at corner played okay. So there's three. And you said Bowers, so there's four. It wasn't Colt Miller's fault. He was hurt for the whole year. So he's still a decent player. Like, yeah, I don't know. I think you have to face the facts that they were 3-14 and they had the number one pick.
Yeah, that's fair. Okay. Let's do the win-loss then. So you've got Vegas at around 5.5. Let's put that to the test. So I'm gonna call out the schedule and you give me your snap reaction. So week 1, they start at home to the Dolphins.
Oh, toilet bowl to start. They win that.
Okay. At Chargers.
Loss.
At New Orleans.
Loss.
At home to the Chiefs.
Loss.
Oh, at the Patriots, where they won last year.
They did win. It was week 1. Genty scored a touchdown. And the Patriots went on a crazy run. And then they were like, how did they lose to the Raiders? At Patriots, cross country. No. Loss.
Revenge match, I think. Doesn't get any easier. Home to the Bills.
I don't want to make a run like this, but I can't see them winning any of these games. Loss.
This is tough. Home to the Rams.
No, they can't win. I can't see a way that they can win that.
At the Jets.
Win.
Okay. At the 49ers.
Loss.
This schedule is tough. Well, home to Seattle. Kubiak.
Kubiak revenge game. Loss.
At the Broncos.
Loss. Mile high. Can't see it.
And then week 12 before their bye week at the Browns, which is a horrendous place to go at that time of the year.
Yeah.
End of November, after Thanksgiving.
Loss.
So they have their bye week, and then they go, and then they host the Chargers.
I'll give them one. I say they split the Chargers.
They then play the Broncos at home.
Go on, let's give them a two-game winning
Oh,
streak.
wow. Wow, they're doing well in division. Home to the Titans.
Oh, it'd be so Raiders to lose that after. 30, 40. Win.
Okay. At the Cardinals.
Loss.
And to end, at the Chiefs.
Loss.
So we're looking at 5-12, which, I mean, it's an improvement from last year, but I didn't realize their schedule was so tough.
That after I had them beating the Dolphins in week 1, read those games again. I had them losing 5 straight.
I think you had them losing 6 straight. At Chargers, at Saints, home to the Chiefs, at Patriots, home to the Bills, home to the Rams.
So you can make a case for them to maybe go into New Orleans, but I don't know. I think the Saints would win that, and I don't think they'll beat the Patriots again. And then what? Rams, Chiefs, Bills? No.
And then just to note, okay, they then play the Jets, but then they get another mini gauntlet. 49ers, Seahawks, Broncos.
Yeah.
That is brutal.
Yeah. I mean, they're in obviously Chiefs, Chargers, Broncos twice a year, but there's no kind of reward for sucking.
You pair that with we're now going to play the NFC West and, well, the AFC East with the Bills and the Patriots. That's a tough run, in fairness.
Yeah.
So even though their record might not look great, they might improve like quite a bit, maybe. But you're only as good as your record at the end of the day. So this is going to be tough, I think.
Yeah, I mean, when you read out the actual games, I mean, even though some of those games could be flipped, when you're saying Rams at Raiders, what Raiders fan who's objective, who's doing that, would say, yeah, we're going to beat the Rams?
Yeah.
Okay, look, if the Rams come in and lay an egg and Stafford throws 3 picks, then maybe you have a shot, but no one in their right mind is picking that as a Raiders win. And there's so many of those games and I have them at 5 wins with splitting the Broncos and the Chargers.
Yeah. Yeah.
And they could split the Chiefs. And then they could
maybe have one upset, maybe, out of that run. I mean, it's going to be tough. They're going to need to play a team that just either doesn't turn up completely or ravaged by injuries. Like maybe they faced the 49ers with 16 injuries or something like that.
And they've got a little bit of the kind of party town. It's not a Raiders home field advantage like it used to be in Oakland.
Yeah.
That stadium, I mean, it's not kind of Chargers, but not Chargers levels, but the visitor does have a lot of fans in that stadium.
Yeah. Having experienced the Coliseum firsthand, yeah, that there aren't many opposing fans in that stadium.
Yeah, so like who comes to that stadium? Obviously Chiefs, Chargers, Broncos, but who visits town? Dolphins week 1.
Dolphins, Bills, Rams, Seattle.
So the Bills fans, the Seattle fans come into Vegas for the weekends.
Yeah. The Rams, well, like it shouldn't really matter if they turn up.
Yeah. The Rams don't even really have a home field themselves, so they don't really care about
that. Yeah. So I mean, that will be interesting. I mean, I must admit that's the first time I looked at the Raiders' schedule, and boy, that is tough for them.
Yeah, like you said, they could flip a couple. You could max, but even if you're really optimistic, I could not see more than 7 wins max.
Absolute max, yeah. Okay.
So do you have the number? What is the spread?
I don't have the number, no. So what is... But you were right. Vegas says 5.5.
Yeah. I think it's tough. I think
it might be under.
I think it is under.
Yeah.
I think there's going to be more other teams, though, where we're like a couple of wins out.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know where you'd go with that schedule, but I came out at 5-12. So
I think I might even come out lower.
Yeah.
Because I suppose any given Sunday you've got to factor in a couple, and I think you already did that. That's the thing. So, I mean, let's see. Maybe they beat Arizona. Yeah, I think you had them having a loss there.
Yeah.
Again, like the Saints. Yeah. December's always tough to predict because you don't know where a team is. Like, if the Chiefs have wrapped up, or if the Chiefs are in a playoff position where they can't change, they might just put the backups out. So that is tricky. Yeah, that's the tricky part. I can't see it being very different from what you've said, though.
Yeah. So we're leaning Raiders under, but that's still an improvement. 5 wins.
Yeah, and again, I know this might sound dumb, but it might be like a strong 5-win season.
So coming on to the next team,
we'll do the Titans next. Yeah, another 3-14 team. They came last in the AFC South, not the strongest division. Notable additions. We're going to start with the coaching. They have stolen my guy, Bobby Saleh, head coach. I think that's a great hire. And what he did at coordinator was even better for them, I think. Bringing in Brian Daboll at offensive coordinator and Gus Bradley at defensive coordinator. So we know what scheme they're going to be running on defense. And with Brian Daboll, okay, he's not been the most successful head coach, but as an offensive coordinator, he's had some great times. You know, he effectively developed Josh Allen. You know, really and truly, like Josh Allen was as raw as they came at the start of his NFL career, and he really had significant growth with Daboll. So I think that's great. That's great news for Cam Ward. I think that, that's a great person to have. And I think what we saw in year 1 of Cam Ward definitely surprised me. I was someone that wasn't too high on him. And he at least showed me flashes where I could say, okay, wow, like this guy can make big plays. Now, what can he be? I don't know. But I'm certainly more positive on him than I was this time last year.
Yeah, this is a team that's hard because you don't to evaluate because I didn't watch. I'll be honest, I didn't watch a lot of Titans football because they're hard to find on regular programming when you've got a highlights reel, for example, Red Zone, and the Titans are a lot of time buried in the octo box in the corner or something like that. Yeah, but when I did go back and watch the Titans because I did want to know what I was talking about when looking at this roster. Cam Ward played. Cam Ward was a highlights quarterback last year. Like you said, he had really special throws in moments, and then he had long stretches of stupid incompletions and turnovers. So if he can level out even slightly, then the Titans are going to massively improve.
Mm-hmm.
And we've just finished talking about the Raiders, who have gone the offensive line route and will worry about receivers later. Well, the Titans have done a little bit of both. So they've tried to go. They paid, and thank you, Titans, Tennessee Titans. You paid Dan Moore a crazy contract last year, and he's still Dan Moore and still not that good. And he's still there at left tackle. And the rest of the offensive line is just, it's definitely bottom 10, potentially bottom 5 in the league.
I feel like they've done the opposite of the Raiders in a way because they've started collecting receivers. Carnell Tate, very high in the draft, and they paid Wan'Dale Robinson. So they're filling out their receiver room without maybe addressing the real problem. And I know that offensive linemen are hard to come by, like good ones, but that feels like the area where, have you done enough? I'm not sure you've done enough.
Yeah, that's what I mean. They've tried to do a little bit of both. Last year they did an O-line, didn't work. And then, okay, well, now we'll go receiver, we'll go weapons. And maybe the O-line will be a little bit better. I don't know. Cam Ward's athletic enough to escape, but he's not. He's not crazy athletic. He's not anywhere close to being a dual threat kind of quarterback, and you don't want him to be. He's not Jaden Daniels, Lamar Jackson, not even close. Don't want him to play like that. But yeah, with the Titans, I would just say it's the change of culture that potentially they're going to have with Saleh, because this is a guy that the last time he was a head coach was on the Jets in London, and then he got fired on the flight or pre the flight back to New York, and they won that game, and the Jets were.
I think they lost that game.
Okay,
it was a close game. They lost to the Vikings.
Right, but they were either at 500 or they were
like 3-2 or 2-3, I think. But like it was it wasn't like, oh, the sky's falling, we're 0-5. It was like you're 2-3.
And then it completely fell apart.
Then it completely fell apart when they fired him.
Yeah. So I think this guy's had a tough time as a head coach because he had the Aaron Rodgers being a media personality to deal with, and the owner being just a historically bad owner with the. He was the head coach with the story about the owner's son making roster decisions. Is that right? Am I remembering the
I
head?
feel like that rings a bell, yeah. And they were basing it on like Madden.
Yeah. Whether that actually happened, I know the quote happened, but whether that actually happened, they were making roster decisions based on the owner's son or grandson's Madden franchise. I mean, I guess when you're that rich, you can do whatever the hell you want.
Yeah.
And Jets have a history of seeming to do whatever the hell they want. But yeah, so I thought it was risky when he went to New York, and this seems to be. I mean, Tennessee, Nashville is not going to be New York. It's not going to have the media. He's not going to have Aaron Rodgers. He's not going to have Johnson to deal with. He's going to be a little bit low key, and they've got zero primetime games. Zero. Like even the Browns and the Jets have a primetime game, and the Titans do not with Cam Ward, who was the first overall pick a year ago.
Mm.
It's easily forgotten about. Obviously, they sucked last year, but they didn't suck because of Cam Ward. They sucked mostly because of their offensive line. But they've got some interesting pieces, the Titans. Their defense, like if you actually look at the guys they've got in defense, like they've still got Jeffrey Simmons in the middle of that D line.
And
And
if you look at what they've helped him with, so I don't claim to be like a Broncos expert, but John Franklin Myers was in high demand. Like the Titans snatched him away from the 49ers, if the reports are true. And then they take kind of a speed edge with Jermaine Johnson of the Jets. So now Jeffrey Simmons has got a bit more help.
yeah, so now you're talking like a strong unit, like D line that can impact the game, can completely change the game if you've got a good D line. Um, and if the O line can hold up enough, long enough, and if Cam Ward can be a bit more balanced, like I said, just be a bit more level in play, just improve his accuracy. And I think Daboll will obviously Daboll's got the history of doing that with Josh Allen. If he can improve that just a bit, we're not asking to repeat Josh Allen. Obviously, it would be amazing for Titans fans, but if you can just improve him a little bit and the offensive line holds up enough, then you've got Carnell Tate. Then you've still got Ridley, who I still like. I think you've got a problem if Ridley's your number one receiver, but when he's your number two, number three, it's fine. He's totally fine. And then Wandale, again, similar thing with Ridley, number two, number three receiver, fine. Absolutely fine. Still got Pollard and Spears at running back, who you're not going to be terrified of, but they're decent enough. Like,
Pollard will surprise you. Like, you're expecting, yeah, he's all right. And then, he can have those big plays, those big games where you're like, fuck.
yeah,
I wasn't accounting for that today.
and that's it. That's exactly the difference. Like I remember Pollard clearly because he was on the Cowboys, and the Cowboys obviously you see the games because the Cowboys are on TV. The Tennessee Titans are not on TV, so then you forget. Oh, damn, Pollard's on the Titans. Oh yeah, he was decent in Dallas. Yeah, but was he decent or was he just on TV? He was visible. So, and Spears I like a lot. He's quick. He can help like shifty out the backfield. Yeah, I like a lot of the Titans, but so much of it comes down to if the offensive line can just not suck so bad, then everything else goes from it. Because I think defense, yeah, the rest of the defense I think's not great, but the front four, the D line's good. Obviously, Salah's going to help with that. You have Salah with the kind of Gus Bradley. So Gus Bradley's going to play the cover three scheme, but then Salah's going to have and you know this better than anyone, like the San Francisco, like the stunts and twists that the D line make off the line. And San Francisco weren't exotic in their blitzes. They were just, we've got four guys, we're going to bring four guys. And they're pretty damn good, but they're not just going to line up and rush. They're going to interchange, they're going to move around, they're going going to run stunts off the line, and good luck. Because our four guys are better than your four guys.
I can tell you now, from the first run with Salah to the second, he has evolved. Like this, like you said, we had a lot of talent in his first stint, and it was very much, base cover three. We've got a great D line, like across the four positions. They're going to get home.
Yeah.
He did a lot of. He was very creative last year with a much lesser than group, and they did well. They did really well. So I definitely think that the Titans defense automatically is going to improve just by Salah being there. But with the additions they've made, that also helps a lot. Because Simmons is a game breaker. Like, I'm not going to say he's like, the best defensive tackle in the league, but he hasn't had that great of support around him. This will help.
I think it's huge as well. Just for Salah, he doesn't have to deal with that bullshit, the New York bullshit.
Yeah.
So if Tennessee can, say, win 5, 6, 7 games, then that's improvement. And then he should be there for 2, 3 years and see what he can get out of this team and actually enjoy his life as a head coach, because I like Salah as a guy. I think he's a lot of fun. I still remember that game in LA where I thought he was going to pass out. He was so excited. Thought he was trying to fight your team, his own team. He was so pumped. They played so great that game, and just to see how excited he was for his guys, that's really exciting to see. And
he lost his joy in New York. Like, you could see it.
I mean, New York, and imagine the combo of the New York, the Jets, and Aaron Rodgers just being a dick. Let's be honest. Like, he was in full, like, the whole, what was it, the handshake or the high five thing, or he snubbed him or something like that. The little snide, the roll your eyes and press conference things. Like, I want Aaron just, and he should know better. So yeah. Anyway, I'm not going to go off and go into Aaron Rodgers like wormhole, but yeah, I hope that Salah's there for a couple of years, because I think he could be something. Could be.
And he definitely thinks Cam Ward can be something, because according to reports, that was the number one reason he chose the Titans. He wanted to have a young, promising quarterback. So, I mean, we're going to see. I've been watching the quarterback series, and Cam Ward is one of the quarterbacks that was followed.
Yeah.
He is very, like, straight shooting, shall we say. Like, he's not going to, if they're playing like trash, he's going to say, we're trash. And some people don't like that, but the players look like they're behind him. Like, they love that honesty from him. Like, he's not coming from a, rah-rah standpoint, oh, what, we suck, da-da-da-da-da. But he's just going to call it what it is. Today we were trash.
Yeah.
And I think that's okay.
Yeah, you could fast forward 10 years' time and Cam Ward's like an MVP. He's won a couple of Super Bowls and Salah's been there for 10 years. Like, there's that upside to it. There's not like, oh, well, we're heading into another year with, sorry, I'm going to do it. We're heading into another year with like Derek Carr and maybe, or my team, we're heading into another year and we might maybe sneak into the playoffs and maybe potentially win. No, we won't win a playoff game. Oh, but what's the upside? Maybe 10, maybe 11 wins, maybe a playoff game. What's the downside? That we're still going to be the same next year and the year after that and the year after that. At least for the Titans, there's this mad swing. And it might be a little bit of an improvement now, but then it could suddenly skyrocket.
Yep.
And we have to remember, like, We can't have recency bias. Like, not everyone comes into the league and is Jaden Daniels.
Yeah.
So Cam Ward, had his struggles, but their O-line sucked, and he wasn't consistent.
Yep. So now he might still have the same offensive line challenges, but he's got an experienced offensive coordinator who will hopefully navigate that, make the game a little bit easier for you. Like, there's a lot of, I don't know if Daboll will continue to run like the read option. That's where they have to be careful because, as you've said, Cam Ward isn't your, even kind of your Jackson Dart athleticism. But that got them in trouble. That got Daboll in trouble.
Yeah.
So you got to be a bit careful with that. So if we look at it, I think we're coming to the conclusion: weakest unit, still offensive line.
I think so. I think
Yeah. Because I think strongest is going to be that D line.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree on the defensive line. And yeah, I think the O-line is like for me, it's the weakness and it's the X factor. It can be both because it's so fundamental to how this team goes.
It really is, yeah.
But
I think for X Factor, I'm going to say Daboll because, like I always go to this example of Shanahan. Shanahan has been able to kind of cheat the offensive line limitations. I feel like Daboll's going to have to kind of do that if they're going to be successful this year.
and Daboll, both Daboll and Saleh were in New York, and they're now in a slightly less pressured media market of Nashville.
Wow, yeah, they've come together.
And it seems quite smart, Saleh's like a relatively young head coach, like his second opportunity. He's still a young man, and he's brought in two experienced guys.
Yeah.
Gus Bradley's been around forever.
Yeah.
It's Daboll. Yeah, so these guys like Saleh and Daboll, like, yeah, just have some fun down in Nashville. You're not going to be in the media spotlight. You haven't got any primetime games. And
That might be a good thing.
build something. There won't be the pressure like in New York, like asking you constantly and like my WFAN, the fan in New York, like every single, oh, this is the worst day of my life. Oh, the Jets suck. And oh my God. Well, if there is that show in Nashville, like it doesn't get national coverage.
I think that Gus Bradley was in San Francisco last year. Just like not like obviously Saleh was the defensive coordinator, but I'm pretty certain he was a defensive assistant. So they've got continuity already with what they're going to want to do. Like, this isn't a new relationship.
Yeah. And yeah, you forget about how many injuries San Francisco had last year and how they overcame it. And, they still made it to the divisional round of the NFC which is just crazy.
It is. It is. So the Titans win total is 6.5.
Just makes it a bit annoying like that. If it's a 5.5, or you can make it, and immediately without even going through we get the Jaguars then and the Colts then, I could go without even looking at the way the schedule falls. I could say 6 wins, but now that's 7 wins, so 7-10 or better.
Do you want to take me through the schedule?
Sure. I mean, I need to bring it up.
Yep. Because this might, again, I have not really looked at some of these teams' schedules, like some of the lower teams from last year. So,
Okay, bear with me. Well, week one of preseason is they go to San Francisco.
Oh wow, okay.
So you have a little reunion with your guy.
Yep. I hope yeah, I'm sure he'll get a great reception.
Okay, so what's the home game here?
So like if you're looking at first game,
Yeah. On Google, it's that way. They don't do the typical American like app.
mhm.
All right. Oh wow. Okay. Are you seeing what I'm seeing? Just getting myself ready for this tight end schedule. Okay, so week one is
Oh my God.
yeah, it's week one, Jets at Titans.
That's a W.
The Eagles at home.
A little too soon. I'm gonna say loss.
Then at Giants.
I'm gonna say win.
Okay. At the Ravens.
Tough day for Cam Ward. I'm gonna say loss.
Then the Texans come to Nashville.
See, these divisional games are interesting. You know what? I'm gonna call upset. I'm gonna say W.
Okay. Then they go to Indianapolis.
It's just like them to lose this game.
Okay. Home for the Browns.
I say win.
At Bengals.
Ooh, Bengals. Who are the Bengals? I'm gonna say loss, but I don't like that one. That one could come back to
Home
bite.
for Jacksonville.
Home to Jacksonville.
Home for the Jacksonville Jaguars after their bye. Sorry, there's a bye week before
I'm
the.
gonna say win. I'm gonna say win.
Okay, we're cooking. We're at 5-4. At Dallas.
That's a loss.
Is that Thanksgiving? I don't think it is.
It's
It's
not. No.
pre-Thanksgiving.
Yep.
Okay, we're back to 500. At Jacksonville.
I'm gonna say loss. So they split with Jacksonville.
Home for Washington.
I'm gonna say win.
Okay, at Detroit.
Loss.
Home for the Colts.
I'm gonna say they lose this one. So sweep.
Okay, it's falling apart now. We were looking good. At the Raiders.
I'm gonna say win.
They're bringing it back, and then Pittsburgh come to Nashville.
Could be close.
Could
I'm
be.
gonna say loss.
Round out at Houston.
That they end on a loss.
Okay, so that was an interesting season because you have so many little runs off,
Mm.
and then 7-10. So you're over. I mean, you're over.
I think it was an optimistic 7-10. There's a couple in there that I'm giving them. Like,
No, I disagree. I think this schedule. I mean, we've just come out of doing the Raiders schedule. I mean, this schedule. I mean, you've got.
because Commanders, we don't, like, is it going to be Commanders with Jaden Daniels, or is it gonna be without Jaden Daniels? Like,
Yeah, but the upside, I mean, Cam Ward for MVP. Happen. You get Jets, you get Giants.
Yeah.
Okay. Right. You're in with a chance already. You get the Eagles at home. Who are the Eagles? Like, then they're nothing special. You could make a case that they could upset them. At Ravens, tough, but who plays for? Are the Ravens going to have anyone who plays on defense this year? We don't know.
Interior offensive line could be an issue.
Yeah.
And that will be the Titans' strength.
Yeah. I mean,
attacking that unit.
You get the Colts, Jags, Texans, obviously, twice. Like, you can easily make a case that they could split.
Yeah.
I mean, they could win 2 games. That's still an improvement on last year.
Yeah.
You get the Browns coming to Nashville. You have to go to Cincinnati. Okay, I agree. You're clutching at straws if you're making a case for that. The Cowboys, I mean, that could be that's like a Cowboys game where they could be a shootout and Cam Ward could have the game of his life, and because it's a Dallas defense, it's not in prime time, and that's the kind of crazy game that Cowboys have lost in history. Command said at Lions. Raiders in Vegas. Who knows? Steelers don't have an offense. I mean, you know where I'm going with this.
Yeah. That it feels like they're going to have at least a chance in a lot of these games. Whereas when we looked at the Raiders, I'm like, fucking hell, you're playing like the top of the NFL here, like most weeks.
Yeah, it's tough. So it's very much what division are you in? And what division are you playing?
Yeah.
Play in the NFC East. So they get Giants, Cowboys, Eagles.
Commanders. Because that Commanders, I mean, we're going to come to the Commanders in the next few weeks, but I'm looking at that roster and I'm like, well, if Jalen Daniels is not there, even if he is there, teams are going to have a chance.
Yeah. So 7-10. I feel better about the Titans after reading out that schedule. Because I was like 6.5. Damn, that's annoying. But it is still, you have to be mad to wager money on a team improving, even though there is cause for optimism to go from 3 wins to 7 or more. An over 100% improvement in 1 year. Wow. But it does happen every single year in the NFL. You just have to identify those teams.
Yeah. And like you said, 6.5 is an annoying number. Like they know that they've got a chance to be like competitive. It's not like we're sitting here going, well, it's 3.5. Like I can't remember, maybe a couple of years ago, there was a team that was 3.5, 4.5. And I was like, they still, I know they suck, but they are still surely going to get to 5. It may have been the Jets. Was it the Jets last year? It might have been the Jets last year and they didn't get there. But you know what I'm saying? Like it's hard to, like you said, bet on a team to improve that won 3 games last year. So have they done enough to really give me full conviction? No, but I like a lot of what they've done.
Yeah. I think you're going to know early.
Yeah.
I think if they handle the Jets in week 1, then you're like, okay, right. They've won the game that they have a shot in.
Yeah.
Confidence, Cam Ward, like new head coach, then they can get some momentum. And just because they play in that division, they could. Might be tough against the Texans with their O-line. It might be tough to play the Texans, but against the Colts, maybe. And then the Jags, they could nick a game, and then,
Yeah.
That's 2 wins. You're playing the Giants, playing the Commanders,
there could be a lot of splits in that division. That's the thing. Like you don't necessarily go, oh well, the Texans are going to go 6-9 in the division. There could be a lot of splits, I think. So that could keep everyone close.
And I don't think they were involved in a lot of blood. Yeah, both they because their defense was really highly rated in fantasy. I remember seeing that, or at least in stats, they were really good in.
Who, the Titans?
Yeah,
Yeah, I think they were pretty good in yards. So it was like the turnovers hurt them.
right.
So I think it was like they were pretty good in yards, but they gave up a load of points in the end because of turnovers, scoring off those turnovers on short drives.
Yeah. Okay. I think we covered the Titans enough. Like, yeah.
Yeah,
But the fact that we spoke for so long about the Titans, like, they're interesting.
they are interesting. I am bullish on the Titans.
And
So
that's if we're saying interesting.
yeah.
Haven't said that about Tennessee for a while. Interesting.
Maybe a slightly lesser interesting team. Well, maybe not. Maybe not. The Arizona Cardinals, another team in the club of 3 wins, 14 losses last year, bottom of the NFC West. They hired Mike LaFleur as their head coach. Offensive coordinator is our old friend Nathaniel Hackett.
Oh, okay.
Just to start off with this team, and I mean, I don't want to be disrespectful, but you kind of know what level you're at when you're in a contract dispute with Jacoby Brissett. Now, he has reported to training camp, so that's good news. But they have this ongoing issue with his contract, and I don't know what he's asking for. Like, I'm sure he's not asking for, extortionate money, but he certainly wants to be paid more. And the Cardinals are maybe looking at the we didn't really win many games last year, despite your sort of overinflated numbers with fourth quarter padding. Offensively, the big move was they drafted Jeremiah Love, who is interesting. They have got Tyler Algier as his backup, and they've even got, as we talked about earlier, James Conner still on the roster as the third running back. So I know that the head coaches are LaFleur. They're going to want to run the football. The question is, do they have the team to do that? They're going to have the scheme. Do they have the team? I mean, they've got good weapons on offense, really.
Yeah.
Trey McBride is top tier.
Yeah.
We are going into, I think, year 3 with Marvin Harrison. He's going to have to, the pressure's on him, really. He's on the, shall we say, the hot seat.
Second contract money. It's got a second contract.
Absolutely.
Now, for Marvin Harrison, he's my X factor for the Cardinals. Who is he? He was this guy in college. Wow. Oh my God, have you seen this guy? He's the son of the Marvin Harrison, and he's even better than him in college. And then he came into the league, and yeah, there's been some moments, but overall, no.
He has not lived up to what he did in college, because is that classic me, I want to see this guy now, and I'm waiting a year to see him, like I did with Fournette. And yeah, right now you look at the body of work, it's just kind of like flashes. We didn't take you in the top 5 for flashes. So I would like to, I hope that he gets there, even though he's in my division. But if he can reach his potential, that could really be a big deal for them. I want to say their number 2 receiver, Michael Wilson, for the role that he plays, he's very productive.
He's okay. Yeah.
Yeah. And then they added Kendrick Bourne, who is just a reliable guy.
Not the issue in Arizona. It would be quarterback and offensive line play.
Exactly.
And the offensive line, which is okay. I mean, they got rid of some old guys who were, just dudes on the offensive line. They just got rid of them, and now they've replaced them with, it seems like, more old guys. I took my starting guard, Sayamalu, who's coming to the end and they paid him 30 over 3 years. I mean, he's not going to see the end of that contract from what I've seen of Sayamalu. And Paris Johnson hasn't worked out yet at a tackle, but is talented and was a higher draft pick. And so there's something potentially on the offensive line, but it's not great. And then, like you said, with leading off, if you're fighting with Jacoby Brissett, I mean, screw it, just don't come back. Like, if we,
Do you want to know who the backup is?
I do, and I can't believe he's still in the league. But you wouldn't have to put up with any of this nonsense from Minshew Mania, I tell you. Like, and they obviously knew. I mean, because Carson Beck, they were getting slated for taking Carson Beck because everyone hates Carson Beck. And they took him in the third round because obviously they predicted what was going to be upcoming with Jacoby Brissett. But Carson Beck and Minshew Mania and even Jacoby Brissett, I'm sorry if this is harsh, but this is just how I feel. I don't think they're the answer to any question of who you want to be at quarterback in any situation. So,
agreed.
So what are we doing? Do you remember we were having this conversation, and we don't, we're more objective than most, but we don't, because Cardinals kind of like they kind of float under the radar because they're the Cardinals. They just do. I mean, they were scrappy for a while. They were always annoying. Like, you hated them because they would always nick an annoying game off you some way, somehow. Like, they win games they weren't supposed to win, and then lose the games when you suddenly have confidence in the Cardinals and like, yeah, I'm going to bet them this weekend. Then they drop it. And then we'd be talking about games. Cardinals at Lions. I have no clue. Anyone who tells you they have a clue are just lying to you. Run, don't listen. But
that unraveled last year. You know, the Jonathan Gannon like sprinkle of magic wasn't there.
Yeah. But do you remember when we were talking about the draft and we all heard the rumor that they were potentially going to take Jeremiah Love? It's like, yeah, no, that's amazing if you have anything else to go along with it. That's Jeremiah Love's like the Genti thing a year ago. Like, oh wow, that's like a piece in the jigsaw. And yeah, now you're going to go win the Super Bowl. Cool. Who plays guard? Who plays center? Who's your quarterback? Like, yeah, Jeremiah Love looks incredible, but is it another? It's harsh saying that Genti was a flop because he wasn't, and he's only 1 year in. But they need so much more, and they could have traded out of that pick.
Yeah,
because they've got so many holes. Like this roster is not good.
Especially defensively for me. Like, they were atrocious last year. It's just whether the guys that were injured will return and be who they were supposed to be. You know, like the Will Johnson pick. You know, he was like regarded as the best corner in college football, but he had a serious injury, or I can't remember exactly, an injury history. So they kind of took a gamble on that. Is that going to pay off? Well, we're going to see.
Yeah, I think it's a shame when it sounds harsh, but this is just how I feel. I think it's a shame when you see like potential superstars, like, and I know it hasn't worked out, but Marvin Harrison Jr. and Jeremiah Love getting drafted by the Cardinals. As an NFL fan, you know, I've got no dog in the fight. Like, it doesn't affect me, but I'm just bummed out when I see, oh, damn, he went to the Cardinals. Like, he's just potentially just going to be insignificant, and it's just not. At least if he was on a New York team, we would have media coverage of them. But yeah, just on an exciting team, like a team that has huge upside. This Cardinals team are just a little bit like, even the coaching hires are just, okay, cool. Well, you get LaFleur, brother. Like, okay, well, every other team in the NFL seems to be doing that. Let's get another Shanahan type guy. Cool. That's a plan. And Nathaniel Hackett, sorry, I don't think he's great.
No,
There's not a lot to. You let it off by saying like they're not as interesting. They're not. And that's sad because they're branded as the Cardinals, but Jeremiah Love as a player is very interesting. And Marvin Harrison as a player is very interesting, but the Cardinals as an overall package are just not.
they've got to put it together. Trey McBride. Get another player that's just, you kind of feel like you're being wasted here. And it's easy for me to pile on because they're in my division, but just objectively, I'm like, we don't even think about you really. It is the Rams, the Seahawks, the 49ers. You are firmly at the bottom right now, and it doesn't feel like it's going to change.
Yeah. I mean that's a vision. So that I mean by same thing as like the Raiders, their schedule is probably going to be absolutely brutal, isn't it?
Probably. I mean, maybe we don't even need to go through their schedule, like unless you want to.
Sorry, I'm
Exactly.
ahead of the Cardinals. Like
Yeah.
I look, what? Give me their number. What's their number?
Oh yeah. What? Yeah. Let's see. What is their number?
So their number should be 5.5.
It's 4.5. It's 4.5.
Is
So
okay.
yeah, that makes
Okay.
sense.
I could see 5.
Yeah.
So I would lean more over than I would under because it's 4.5. I thought it'd be 5.5, but because Jeremiah Love is just he's crazy. When I've seen the film in college, he is a crazy player. But
Can you get
and
him
I
in
don't.
space? That's the thing. Can you get him in space? Because he'll eat up the space. Like he's that type of player. Get the ball in his hands with space in front of him. Easier said than done.
Yeah, I don't think because it's not. I know we've got King Henry and we've got big running backs, but it's not so much. Gibbs and those kind of speed orientated running backs have had huge success in the NFL.
Yeah.
And they play in a dome. Weather's not really an issue except when they travel cross country and when they have to go to Seattle. San Francisco and LA is not going to be a problem for their road division games. Yeah, Love could be. Well, look, it's college to the pros, but the college tape is wow.
Yeah. So to summarize, what I was thinking was strongest unit, I'm going to describe as pass catchers because you got Trey McBride, potentially Marvin Harrison Jr.,
Yeah,
Michael Wilson at the 2, and Jeremiah Love potentially out of the backfield.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I'll give another unit just because I don't want to give the same unit. I'll say their D line. So you've got Walter Nolan, who they drafted quite high, who's decent. They paid money last year to Josh Sweat of the Eagles. He's good. And then I wanted the Steelers to draft this guy a few years ago, and he has had a good career so far. Zaven Collins on the outside, undersized, but he can rush the quarterback. So their D line's okay, but I do agree. I think the weapons have much more upside.
But Walter Nolan, we didn't see much. Like I think he finished the season, right? He came in the second half.
Yeah.
We haven't really seen him to the fullest extent because he came with a lot of promise, but got scuppered. That's the thing. So
Yeah, no, I'm just again talking the upside of those three guys. You've got, Zaven Collins was a first round pick, Nolan a first round pick, and then Josh Sweat, like highly paid in free agency, came off a Super Bowl winning team. Like, so you've got three, if it works out, very good players on. So, and for the Cardinals, I mean, do they have a unit where you go, wow, yeah. Wilson, I agree. I like Wilson when I've seen him in flashes because you don't see a lot of Cardinals football unless you go looking for it or you're a Cardinals fan. But Wilson did make a load of plays.
Yeah, he's your perfect number two that you're going to get chunk plays from him because he's not on the top. He's not being guarded by the top corner, and he's useful.
Yeah, but the quarterback situation is so disappointing because if they just had of, I mean, why are they not, for example, going after Malik Willis? What's the Malik Willis thing? I mean, I'm saying this as a Steelers fan, annoyed that we didn't even enter into the market for Malik Willis. But why, for example, were the Cardinals? Was it a done deal? Was the thing like, okay, Hafley was on the Packers, with Malik Willis. So was that a done deal? They left together, like, oh, I'm going to Miami, so you're coming with me, kind of thing.
I think it was, and I think
it's got to have been.
I think there was some involvement from Troy Aikman as well.
Okay.
So I feel like they already had the inside track because I don't really know why Willis would go there unless he was given like significant reassurances from them that you're going to be our guy. Like, because the contract wasn't like, amazing. And, in fairness, like, he's got a small sample size. But yeah, I'm thinking, like, surely other teams had a shot at him, but it really didn't feel that way.
Yeah, we didn't even hear about, oh, well, he's considering his options. He's got 2 free offers or something. It was just, you woke up one day and, oh, Malik Willis is on the Dolphins. Oh, well, everyone thought that was going to happen. That's exactly what happened. But there wasn't a market with these teams, your Steelers and your Cardinals. And the Cardinals are now scratching around with Minshew and Carson Beck and Jacoby Brissett. It's like...
definitely their weakest unit. Like and that's like saying something with some of the other units they've got. But quarterback is anchoring them.
Yeah, absolutely.
So X factor, yeah, I think you said it. Offensive line, and second to that, really, Jeremiah Love. Like if the offensive line plays well, then Jeremiah Love could be an X factor because given their quarterback situation, what could help that? Well, if you've got an explosive run game, that's definitely going to help. But can they get there? I don't know. I'm not sure.
Yeah. I mean, you are, as a 49ers fan, you are worried that I would be concerned that potentially I have to see Jeremiah Love twice a year for the next at least 4 years.
Yeah.
But
you selfishly hope they continue to suck because then he becomes a non-factor. It's whether or not they approach this the right way over the next few years. They have to put emphasis on the offensive line. I mean, obviously they have to find a quarterback because, I mean, what a team's going to do with this? Well, you say that they've got weapons. That's the thing. So it's not a case of teams can just, fill the box and say no, Jeremiah Love, because then you're going to have Marvin Harrison one-on-one or Trey McBride one-on-one. But overall, their quarterback situation is going to hurt them, I think. Yeah, like Jacoby Brissett is going to have a few good games here and there, but we've seen it, a year, maybe a year and a bit. He's not the answer.
No, he never was, and now he wants more money. It's like, it's fine when you're going between situations, but when he wants you to extend it, it's like, nah, you were never the long-term plan. So why would we just extend the agony of this? You have to be looking to the future. So the Carson Beck pick doesn't make any sense because you probably could have gotten him even later.
And use that third round pick for, in the third round, you can still pick up a good player at a different position. Like, it almost feels like a kind of a Dylan Gabriel kind of pick. Like we feel pressured that we need to resolve the quarterback situation. So, let's throw a dart. Like, I don't like that approach.
Yeah. So to summarize, we've got two teams that we're quite interested to see, and then one team that we're not. And hopefully, Cardinals, you can prove us wrong and be something different than what we expect. But you have some interesting players, but you overall, as a franchise, not that interesting.
Yeah. A lot of work to do.
Yeah. And they haven't sort of been decisive with their plan. At least like with the Titans and Raiders, I can understand where they're going. The Cardinals are like, oh, well, we'll take a guy from this coaching tree because that's what everyone does. And we'll take the best available player, not necessarily the need that we have, and we'll not improve our offensive. Well, we won't fully go after the offensive line. We'll just replace old guys with some more old guys. And we'll hope these old guys kind of work out better than the previous old guys. And we won't be decisive at the quarterback situation. We'll just kind of prolong the thing. Like Jacoby Brissett, they should have just, I don't know, just told him to go home now.
The only thing I don't know is if the Kyler Murray contract is hurting them, because they were not aggressive in free agency. And I know like that's not always the answer, but for a team that won 3 games, I would think that they would have had a bit more urgency.
How long have they got the Kyler? So you forget that they've got a kind of a Tua situation, haven't they? They're paying Kyler Murray
a little bit, yeah. So I don't know how long that is, but they only let go of him this year, so there's going to be some blowback from that.
At least 1, potentially 2 years.
Yeah.
Okay. So Miami, I mean, everybody's preseason ranked this team as the worst team in the NFL. And when you look through the roster, you can understand why overall. Like, this is an old-fashioned kind of teardown where they have got rid of a lot of expensive contracts and a lot of older players of, well-established NFL players. Minka Fitzpatrick and Bradley Chubb and Jalen Phillips and Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle. Gone. Tua. Not like well, he's a well-known NFL player, but not like a superstar, but highly paid NFL player. Gone. Head coach, maybe potentially harshly. Gone. GM, gone. Sure, I've left out loads of other guys who've got fired, but so yeah, loads of people have gone, and what have they done with it? Well, they signed Malik Willis to a pretty reasonable contract when you look at starting quarterbacks anyway. Obviously, he has to produce. He's never been a full-time starter. He's had periods where he has started, and he's been pretty successful, but that was in Green Bay, and Green Bay has a good team overall. So this will be more challenging for Malik Willis. And they brought in the coaching staff from the Dolphins. To the Dolphins from the Packers.
Yeah.
and mainly the defensive coaches from the Packers. And the Packers defense has been decent. So it looks like they're going for a change of culture in Miami, who were historically, they never won a game when it was cold outside, and that game in Kansas City where they were
frozen out.
Yeah, I mean, that was a brutal game anyway, but yeah, Tua couldn't play in the cold. Still remember that throw he made in Pittsburgh that like took a week to get there, like just floating, like, oh my God, that ball's still in the air. Just didn't have the arm strength. So they're going for the change of culture. Like they've brought in some guys on the O-line, D-line, and they've still got Achane at running back, who is not, and I think it's inaccurate to say he's just a quick running back. He's a tough running back, and he'll run up the middle and he'll run at you and he'll potentially run over people. And you're not paying attention if you say Achane's just speed. That's because early in his career, that's what the Dolphins were.
Every down back.
Yeah, I really like Achane, and I think that is for me, because it's tough to find an X factor on the Dolphins. So I'll say the relationship between him and Malik Willis would be the X factor in Miami. The weakest unit on the Dolphins would be the pass rush. I mean, they took a guy called Chop Robinson like a year ago. I think he was second, third round pick, and people liked him when they drafted him, but he didn't do anything. And now they've just got some other NFL players, like no one really to speak of. And it's going to be tough because Hafley can come in and give them some fight and a change of culture, and at least they're going to turn up on time to meetings, not like they did not do under the previous regime. So they might be more disciplined, but in terms of talent, you can understand why they are the worst ranked team in the NFL. And yeah, but they do play in a division with the Jets, and they play in South Florida, and they make the other team stand in the Florida sun during games. So they could be scrappy.
I mean, this was an extreme teardown. So
yeah,
I would, really just say, be patient. Like this. What was it? The headline was over 150 million in dead cap this year. I mean, that's over 50% of your cap. So they've not got a lot to work with here. This is a multi-year project. And I know we're like, well, NFL, we need to win now. This particular situation is like, we need a couple years.
But at least they've been decisive in what they were doing.
Yeah, exactly. Rip the Band-Aid off now.
Yeah.
Let's see what we can do this year. No real expectations. And give Malik Willis his full year to bed in to the scheme.
Mm-hmm.
And, next year could be different. They could have more money to spend and invest in this team. But it had to be done. I mean, I think we've spoken at this at length. A lot of these players that were on big money started to really not produce. So I definitely agree with what they've done, even if it means it could be a very painful year one.
Yeah, they haven't committed themselves to anything long term.
Yeah.
Extended Achane, signed Willis to a favorable deal. Head coach and backroom staff that are not going to be. It's not going to be too expensive to move on from them. That's what I'm trying to say with the coach. It's not like they're going after a superstar head coach.
Yeah.
It's just a transition. They're just going to get through this period, and then if I'm a Dolphins fan, I'm like, yeah, we could win a few games, and we could be annoying, and we could, you know, ruin the Bills Patriots season by beating them in Florida, like we quite often do. Yeah, so I think
They,
that's
they could have a top 5 pick. Like they could have a top 5 pick. Like we'll see.
they will have a top 5 pick, but hard to. I'm trying to be optimistic by saying Achan's this, and they play in Florida, and they got the Jets. But it's hard to give them more than. There's a reason why they're ranked 32 by most people, and even when you look through their schedule, like I don't know, like what 5? I think their handicap is 4.5, so it's tough.
What is their hand? Yeah, it's 4.5. And it's the thing is, I am going to reserve judgment on Willis. Like, I'm not going to just make a full conclusion on this year because I am looking at the supporting cast. And yeah, I mean, really outside of Achan, these are guys. I mean, yeah, okay, Tutu Atwell. That's a nice wide receiver 3.
Yeah.
You know, when you've got like Nakua and Devontae Adams.
You know, I just remember this guy, Parker Washington, the returner. He's interesting.
But that's not who they've got.
Oh, am I confusing the other Washington? He's on the Jags. Sorry,
he's on the Jags. Yeah, so they've got, and I don't claim to know him well, Malik Washington.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure that I placed a bad prop on him in a game last year. Maybe it was a Thursday night game. So, yeah, like, you know, they don't have a true number 1. I mean, I'm just looking here. They took Jalen Tolbert from Dallas. Again, he's like borderline kind of like wide receiver 2, wide receiver 3. Like, I would say right in the middle of that. Like, not really like he's a wide receiver 2. He's kind of in between.
Yeah.
So it could be a struggle. I think it's just a case of can they surprise? That's it for this year.
Yeah, I think they'll win a few games at home. They do have a home field advantage.
Yeah. And I like Willis. I do believe in him. Like, he can play. But I don't know if we're going to see that to the fullest extent this year. That's all. And I don't want to like pre-excuse him because that's the job. Like, you've got to lift this group. So let's see if they can do it. Like,
yeah.
I feel like a lot of their decisions, it sounds like they're coming through Troy Aikman, and he seems like a reasonable decision maker. Like, he's far more involved than, say, and he doesn't have a minority stake, but he's far more involved than, let's say, like Brady is, because, you know, this is it for him. Like, he is football. I commentate on Fox and I advise the Dolphins. That's it. So I feel like they've got a good person there, good sounding board, good advisor that is steering them in the right direction. It's just it might take a bit of time. That's all.
Yeah, Aikman doesn't take any crap.
Yeah.
And he had a very successful career. And I like him as a commentator. Yeah. There's a lot of NFL commentators that I'm not particularly bothered whether the sound's on or off. But with Troy Aikman, I like him. He does speak sense, and he's really knowledgeable about football. And even if he's just in the background, like advising Malik Willis, because Troy Aikman, like Super Bowl winning quarterback on a team that ran the ball a lot with Emmitt Smith. So he knows he can advise Malik Willis on just how to play the position.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, and he seems like a good guy as well, just kind of level-headed. So yeah, and the Brady thing will help Aikman and the Dolphins because it'll be a little bit more under the radar. Like, you
Yeah.
know, yeah, yeah, I think that's good. And at least with the Dolphins, like we were kind of not criticizing, but just a bit like meh about the Cardinals. Like, oh, well, they're doing this, and I don't know, yeah, they're doing a little bit of this, a little bit of this. At least with the Dolphins, like, no, we're going this way, and damn it, we're going this way. This is the way we're going, and you're all coming with us, whether it's probably going to be shitty, but that's the way we're going.
I'd almost I know it sounds crazy, but I'd almost rather be with the Dolphins than the Cardinals, even though the Cardinals at least have individual talents. It's just I know the way the Cardinals operate. They just kind of, oh, we'll sprinkle a bit of effort here, a bit of effort there, and they feel like we'll just pat like the. I don't want to criticize the owner, but I feel like he pats himself on the back a lot.
Yeah.
Oh, I did a good thing today. Oh, we did a good draft this year. Yeah, we've done it. But no.
Yeah. Well, look, I mean, it's fantasy football, isn't it? Yeah, let's take Jeremiah Love. They've seen him at Notre Dame. He's incredible. Wow. Like, yeah, screw it. We'll take Jeremiah Love.
Yeah.
And obviously, you make a profit on it, like return on investment. How many shirt sales they're going to generate? Like,
Absolutely.
Love Cardinals. But yeah, it's not the way you build teams, at least conventionally. So we'll see. Let's see. And the Dolphins, pause, fast forward 2-3 years. Let's see.
Exactly.
The only thing is that with the Dolphins, I don't know how. Obviously, they're going to have a few draft picks, but I don't know if they've got like a ton of draft picks because a lot of these guys they've cut or like the Tua thing. They haven't got anything in return for that. Like,
didn't they have a lot this year though? Like I feel like they had maybe like 6 of the top 100 picks in this draft.
Yeah, so they have
gone.
They have drafted at least guys that I've listened to are interested in some of the guys that they've drafted, but it's just because of the whole because we don't know how they're going to turn into professionals.
Yeah.
When you look at the overall roster, like
yes, it's too young or there's not enough talent because really and truly the previous GM just screwed them. With absolutely. Open checkbook.
Yeah, the fantasy football kind of money, like the Bradley Chubb deal, was just crazy.
Yeah.
Many others. So the Dolphins, all I know, like that they went after a corner, Chris Johnson, in the first round. They took him. People like him, so you could have Pat Surtain in 2-3 years time. You don't know, and they went after offensive line last year, but it needs to all come together, and it could happen quickly. It could happen in 2-3 years time. That's the thing. The NFL does turn around quickly.
Yeah,
but
because they're eating it right now. That's what they're doing, and then it's like, well, next year we're back in business. Like we can start making smarter decisions in free agency.
Yeah, exactly. Then we've got some cap, and we're still in Florida. People still want to live in Florida. There's no income. There's no state tax. Yeah, and you don't have to come and like play with Tua. He's gone. Like,
and like they paid Ramsey. Like they made Ramsey like one of the highest paid corners in the league, and then a few months later they traded him. These are the sort of things that will stop now. How much are they eating from that? Oh yeah, we still believe in Ramsey. Oh, okay, a few months later, nah, we're going to trade him.
Yeah, and so some of the things like they traded Ramsey for Minka.
That was it, yeah.
But Minka had a pretty shitty contract as well, but Ramsey's was slightly worse. So people were
Ramsey's
saying
was
like,
much worse because he just signed it as well. Like that wasn't like a here's a 1 year. That was a 3 or 4 year deal. So for you, you're loving it because they ate the dead cap, and you got a pretty I'd say flexible deal with Ramsey.
yeah. But then they ended up a year later getting rid of Minka for, I think it was fourth, fifth, like a really late round pick. Minka's now on the Jets.
Yeah.
But if he's gonna, Minka's from New Jersey, so at least he's gone home.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that's what I mean. Like they weren't decisive, so they got rid of Ramsey because of his contract, and then took on another shitty contract from Minka, and then a year later they then got rid of that, and they've ended up having Jalen Ramsey, and then their compensation was nothing.
Yeah.
At the back
Exactly.
end. Like, what? And Jalen Ramsey, obviously, he's not who he used to be, but he's still, plays for my team. He's still damn good. So, yeah, Jalen Ramsey, obviously, it's a bad contract, but he wasn't the guy. They had a lot of guys, Tyreek Hill is a superstar. Jalen Ramsey's a superstar, but there were a lot of other guys, Jalen Phillips never had moments, but never really did it. Bradley Chubb never did it.
No.
For the Chargers.
And he's now on the Bills.
Yeah.
So we'll
That's what
one for another day.
That's what the Bills do. They take pass rushers at the end of their career.
Yeah.
On dumb contracts.
Yeah. So next week we will get to the Jets and other teams. Let's round out, Paul, on a draft. The all-time draft. And the rules are simple. The player you pick will be the version of him on that team. So there will be no Darrelle Revis on the Chiefs kind of picks. Yeah, well, same as last week. Quarterback, running back, 2 receivers, tight end, and a defensive player.
Mm-hmm. You
can have the first pick. You probably will love this. It's the Chargers.
Ooh. Yeah, I won't overthink it. I will take LT. I will.
Got to. I've got the Saints. Well, I'm taking the player he was on that team, Jimmy Graham.
Okay. Yeah, great pick.
He was in that Gronk discussion at that point.
Yeah. Yeah, for a 2-3 year stretch with Drew Brees. Yeah.
We're running it back from last week. You've got the Buffalo Bills.
I'll take Josh now. I'll take Josh Allen. I'm not risking letting him go this time.
Wow. I've got the Chiefs again, so I'm taking Mahomes again. Not Darrelle Revis.
No, I mean, you could have taken, just to be different, you could have taken Tyreek Hill there.
Oh, Hill, that was a good one.
Or
Tony G, I suppose, but
yeah,
before my time a little bit. Your next pick is the Vikings.
Vikings. So I can't have AP. On the Vikings, okay. On the Vikings, yeah, he was still incredible on the Vikings. I mean, he was drafted by the Vikings, and I know he went on to be a Hall of Famer. I'm going to take a Vikings wide receiver, Hall of Famer. So it could take 2. I mean, it could take both, but that's not the rules of the game. I'll take Randy Moss.
Yeah. Wow, that is Allen, LT, and Randy Moss.
But I could have gone Chris Carter because Randy Moss probably hit the heights of his career after leaving the Vikings, but he was still incredible for
Yeah.
them.
The irony of this next one, I've got the Jets. So give me Revis Island.
Yeah. Yeah, you got to do it.
Oh my God. Wow. Your next one is the Lions.
Ooh. Uh, yeah, I'll take Megatron.
Randy Moss and Megatron.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh boy. The Arizona Cardinals.
You've got
Okay.
you've
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
got loads of options.
I'll take Mr. Reliable Larry Fitzgerald.
Yeah.
Okay. New York Football Giants.
Oh, tight end defense, Giants. No, I'll take. I'll have two LTs on my team. I'll take LT on defense.
Wow. This team is stacked. I get the Saints. Ooh,
Big.
running back receiver. Hmm.
You
I'll
got
go.
Reggie Bush, Kamara.
So I was thinking prime.
You, you got Michael Thomas. You got
At his best,
Michael Thomas was the best receiver in the league for. I mean, it was 1 year, but
yeah.
for that 1 year, he was incredible.
You know what? I am gonna take. I'm gonna take Kamara. Like I was thinking Bush, but I'm gonna take Kamara. And so your last pick,
My tight end.
your tight end will come from the Chicago Bears.
Why am I drawn to Mike Ditka? Mike Ditka was a tight end who head coached the Bears, but he never played. I don't think, I could be wrong, that he ever played as a tight end for Bears. He just coached Bears. So, I mean, they've just had some guys, haven't they?
You can pick an active player, like it's.
Yeah, no, I know. Like, there's got to be a Bears tight end who was better than Holston Loveland or Cole. Kmet. There's got to be. Sorry, I'm going to ask chat. Okay, so I was wrong. I was wrong. And Greg Olson played for the Bears, but he did not only coach the Chicago Bears, he played tight end for the Chicago Bears, Mike Ditka.
Okay. So final one for me, it is the Packers. Got some options. Thinking like narrowing it down to like Sterling Sharp, Jordy Nelson, Devontae Adams,
Greg Jennings.
Greg Jennings. You know what? I'm gonna go Devontae Adams. Like he is just a red zone beast at the end of the day. Jordy Nelson was big time, but
Mm.
Adams. So I think it's fair to say that this was a bit of a landslide this week. I mean, LT and LT. Randy Moss and Megatron. I mean, that's just crazy.
Yeah. But, I mean, you've got Mahomes, Kamara, Larry Fitz, Devontae Adams, Jimmy Graham, and Darrell Revis. I mean, your team's stacked, but yeah, my team will be Hall of Fame, is Megatron
is first ballot.
is Ditka wouldn't have been as a player, but as a head coach.
Mm-hmm.
So we're talking an LT obviously is. So I've got, if we give Ditka Hall of Fame, then I've got the clean sweep for Hall
Clean
of Fame.
sweep. Yeah. I mean, LT, arguably best defensive player of all time. Moss, Megatron, I would say both top 5. LT, top 5.
Yeah. Depends on your style, but yeah. And depends on your era, you know, if you're a older guy, then you're a Jim Brown sort of era, or if you're younger guy, then you're going to be a kind of Derrick Henry or our generation like LT, Marshall Faulk,
AP.
Yeah, with running back, it all depends on your style. But just for me growing up, like watching football, like the Damian Tomlinson was just a beast.
Yeah.
And yeah, he took over games. Still, I believe holds, could be wrong. I'm sure I'm not though, that he still holds a single season rushing touchdown.
He does. He does, yeah.
Like, and in a 16 game season. And yeah, he was just a monster.
And we fight. You got Josh Allen some help, so I'm delighted for him.
And I haven't got a Chicago Bears quarterback. They still tried to mess with me though. The Bears, like,
final pick, 2 weeks in a row. Yeah.
And that, if I hadn't taken Josh, that would have come around again, and I would have been stuck with Bears quarterback again.
Yeah, I'm just thinking, like, if you hadn't taken Josh Allen, Vikings quarterback, maybe. Lions quarterback.
Vikings quarterback, I would have had to have gone Randall Cunningham.
Yeah. Because if you'd got to Lions, Lions, you might have had Stafford.
Yeah. Yeah, because you could still say Stafford on the Lions was still, I mean, he earned the trade to the Rams on the Lions. He was still a superstar on the Lions.
I think the key to this is you got to get your quarterback sorted early.
Yeah.
Because if I'd passed on Mahomes, might have ended up with Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah, you had Green Bay at the end. So, and even Cardinals, you could go, okay, Cardinals, I'll take Kurt Warner.
Yeah. A great story.
Won't be remembered as a Cardinal.
Yep.
But still made it to a Super Bowl on the Cardinals.
Yep. All right. Well, that wraps us up for this week. Like I said, 7 weeks to go. We're going to be rattling through these teams to see where they're at. And as the weeks get closer, we're going to be looking at the ascending teams and then who we feel probably are Super Bowl contenders. So, yeah, we will see you next week.